Okay, so those of you that are coming into this video or wherever you found me from, uh, this isn't really a video for new players necessarily, but anybody could watch either way. So it's mainly a touch up on the settlement system since the way I cover it is a little different than most people. You might see people with some lavish builds and things like that. This isn't really about that. This is for people that, have played the game, but maybe they haven't really gone that far, as far as with the settlements and all that kind of stuff. So this is for those people that are trying to get something going, but maybe they might be a little bit stuck on a certain thing, or maybe them watching some people making certain types of build videos, but maybe it's not working for them. So here are a couple of pointers that okay, as the title suggests, that maybe you could look at. How do you increase your settler population? And let's say you are getting something going, but maybe you're not really getting a lot of people right now, or maybe that's basically kind of what I want to touch on. So, what exactly do you have to do to basically generate more people to come in? That sort of thing. You have a few different settlements kind of unlocked, but maybe there's only like a few people in the place, but for whatever reason, they're not getting any more. What is up with that, and what can you do to increase it? And those of you that may be looking for that. Well, like anything, the first thing you want to do anytime you want to check your settlements, your map basically, if you go over to your map, this will basically pull up any settlement you have, even if you have supply lines. So, the reason I decided to use this save is because this is a character I decided to make a smaller size settlement. This isn't a character I use for like a main settlement type of builder. This particular character, I used this guy to basically romance Kate. Not that it really makes a difference. I was going for a Brotherhood Steel kind of playthrough with this guy. But I did, as you can see, there are a few on my map that you can see that I've unlocked as far as that goes. So obviously, the first place you come to, everybody should know, is Sanctuary. So, what you need to know as far as like how many settlers you have, anytime you pull up the supply line or local, if you have it, anything will show up as far as. But even if I take the supply lines away, for example, like you'll see where there's a person that's standing next to it, and then there's a face. This face basically tells you how happy the people are there versus what the percentage is, and it basically has 9 people in the settlement. Okay, now if I go over to Red Rocket, okay, this place over here has about 7 people. If you go down to Sunshine Tidings, which is a place that I did unlock relatively recently with this guy, it only has about 5 people right now. Then over here at Ted Pines Bluff, I haven't really gotten this one going, so there's a reason why this one only has 2 people. That's because I haven't quite really built in this area all that much. So for the most part, it pretty much just kind of remained as it is for most of it. Starlight, this place by far has the most people when it comes to this save. It has just over 11 people, and in terms of happiness, it's around 80%. So it's actually doing pretty good as far as the area goes. Then this is Oberlin Station. Some of you guys might be familiar with this place. This one only has 6 people. And I basically capped it at 6 people because I wasn't really planning on increasing most of these settlements beyond a certain number. Over here is Tappington Boathouse. They're sitting at about 80%. And this over here is Hangman's Alley. They're sitting at roughly about 75%. And where I'm at currently is over at County Crossings. Now, this is the only place I don't have an active supply line going to. That's because, like Ted Pines, you know, I'm just now kind of getting to the place, so I haven't really done much to it. But in terms of like how to increase settler population, let me show you a couple of places that I have really done. So I'll go backtrack and go to the boathouse, and I'll show you exactly what's going on with this place to give you guys an idea exactly what's going on here. Okay, so here we are at Tappington Boathouse. As you can see, I'm still working at it, but I haven't really done anything too crazy with it. As you guys know, this roof right here, if you could see, I haven't exactly done anything with the roof. Yeah, that's because, with this guy, I'm not really doing anything too crazy with the guy. I'm claiming a few places, but I'm not doing too crazy with this particular save. But that's not really what this video is about. What this video is about is how to increase settlers. Well, basically, you have to plant food, you have to grow the size, you need to put down water, you need beds, and then you need to set up a radio beacon. Now, if for say, let's say you have a place that you're trying to grow into a bigger settlement, but maybe you're stuck like this. Maybe you only have like, I don't know. Let's see. See, Tappington Boathouse, since I'm here right now, it has 8 people. But let's say you got another place that you're working on somewhere that's different than this place. Say you're trying to increase it, and say you only have like 8 people. Well, you, what you need to do sometimes, if it doesn't look like you're gaining any more people, even if you have a good supply of food and water and things like that going there, you might have to just go out, play the game for a while, do some missions, that sort of thing. Because the way this game works, guys, here's the thing. Fast forwarding and sleeping in this game is not the same as in real time. The way that this game basically fluctuates in terms of getting new people, at least from what I notice anyway, is every few actual in game time, every few hours that pass in real time, you may see a settler or two pop up. Now, they also say, what about your charisma? Does that, I mean, that could work. If you come over to my guy, for this guy, for example, my charisma, uh, without this shirt, without the, where is it? Without this shirt that I'm wearing, this gives me +2. This gives me 2 in charisma. So, with this shirt that I have on, this outfit and pants that I have on, it brings it brings what normally would be 9 up to 11. Now that does apply in terms of this game. But it's not just because you might have a 10 or 11 plus or 13 even. That really has nothing to do with, people showing up. It can be slower. You might see some people out there where they have like 25 or 30 type settlers, and you're probably wondering how in the world did they get that many? Honestly, guys, I gotta be honest. Some of them might not really be telling you always the truth. You have to keep that in mind, because it is a channel that they're trying to grow into something, for themselves, and they made a lot of content based around Fallout. But do take everything that you hear sometimes with a grain of salt from people, because there are mods that can basically allow you to cheat a little bit. There's things like scrap everything anywhere, which would include getting rid of things like dead bodies, that sort of stuff. But in terms of but if you're just playing the game, you're trying to grow a settlement without mods, you're trying to do it without any kind of help. Well, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's like anything else. People will eventually show up. It may not happen all in one shot, but yes, based on your charisma score, you eventually will get people to come there. But if you have more than one active settlement unlocked, for example, like this, even though with this guy, I might not have a whole lot, it's still enough settlements that are unlocked for people that basically can go in different places. So as long as you have, if you have an active beacon set up in one of these places, in one of the places that I'm showing you on my map, if you have any of these areas unlocked, then basically settlers can random anywhere. They could show up to here, they could show up there, they could come here, you know, they can go to Red Rocket. It doesn't matter where it is. I'll go to Starlight now and show you just how big this one has gotten. And like I show you, some people say that some settlements, increase based on, certain specific areas that seem to attract settlers more than other areas. Yeah, I have noticed that, but here's the thing also. Some settlements like Hangman's Alley, for example, is also tied to certain quests. Specific quests like that the railroad specifically actually is actually also quite heavily interested in the area. So if you actually start doing anything for them, they could actually turn it into a stronghold where Sims could basically use it as a refuge to escape like, the Institute and even the Brotherhood to some degree, but here's basically sunshine, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it looks like a fight kind of broke out. I just got over here, and it looks like these settlers are already okay. So it's a couple of dogs. Well, at least I didn't have to do much over this way. But you guys saw there's 11 people over this way. But that's the thing. They all could increase. Now, if you want a little bit of a tip, that would it be now? Some of you might ask though, would it be better if you just have one settlement at a time and work it one at a time and see what it does then? I mean, if you want to do it that way, you can. There's no right or wrong answer. My honest opinion, the way you want to go with it, you know. The very first mission Preston gives you, if you decide to come back to him, come back to Sanctuary after, he asks you to basically come back with them, the very first place he sends you to is usually Ted Pines Bluff. And then that usually sends you over to Corvega Factory to clear out the raiders. And that's usually your first actual mission as far as Preston. Now that doesn't make you a Minuteman right away, but if you come back to him after taking care of it, then he would basically open a line of dialogue where he names you general and that sort of thing. But even without Preston's help, though, you can go around to any settlement that is wide open and basically just claim it. Because the game is about rebuilding the Commonwealth after all. That's kind of the theme of the game, at least the way that I understand it. But, as you can see, there's nothing too crazy over here. But there's enough beds, just very simple kind of stuff that I have going. You know, uh, Starlight is a pretty wide open area, so there's so many ways you could build here. Some people go all out with them. I'm not really that good in terms of what I build either. I'm not really like some type of build expert. You guys can, there's plenty of videos out there. You guys can watch some people where they do some pretty amazing things with what they come up with. But my thing is basically to help people get a settlement started, not necessarily show you what to build or how to go about this or that. I mean, there's all kind of videos you can watch for that would do a better job than what I'm giving you here. But that's just the thing. Um, but it's pretty random in terms of the way settlers basically show up in different settlements. It's all just pretty random. You know, uh, it might not always come the way that you want it to. You know, and some places that like Hangman's, you would think that a place like this place. Oh, where's Hangman? Right here. This is a place that's literally really out of the way, really, if you really think about it. You would think it's not really a place that, anybody would have an interest in wanting to take over. But it is an area that normally is inhabited by a couple of raiders that just kind of make a home there, and basically you just kind of clear it out and you could basically turn it into something. But you'd be surprised how quick this place could basically get people just pouring in there out of nowhere. I think one of the reasons why people kind of flock to this place, is because, it's close to Diamond City, and there's also Grey Garden to the other side. So if you see where I am now, here's Hangman's Alley, uh, here's Oberlin Station, and then here's Grey Garden. Literally, Hangman is just right down here, and then right over here is Oberlin. So not even really that far in terms of a walk. It's just that not really that far off. You know what I mean? And Graveyard is usually a place that a lot of people set up a supply line to kind of come down through here. I've seen people do that and go all the way to Hangman's because, you know. But the thing about it is, this area though, a lot of people say they have some trouble over here trying to get something built going. Uh oh, look like we got something going on over here. Oh, we got a Yao Gui. Oh, well, I wasn't expecting that, but hey, okay. But the thing with this place, you mainly, when it comes to defense, you basically have to set up turrets going from this direction to point there, and then you need a turret or two, like over here where I kind of set up. There's one there, and then I have one right up here, so if something comes from this way, they'll take care of anything coming over here. And then you also see that I have one little guard post right here, so if they need to come over here, they will. And then I also have them right over here just in case something does pop off. And you just saw that there was a a bear that just tried to make its way into here, but they took care of it just as soon as I got here. But this place literally has, let me see, about 8 people. Now it don't have any more because I basically took the radio tower down from this particular place. I usually don't let this place want to get too big because one time when I first started, trying to grow settlements and that sort of thing, this place literally got overloaded with about 17 or 18 people at one point, and that's because I wasn't really paying that much attention to it. And that's the thing about settlements, you know, you never know when something can happen. Now, you don't have to get rid of a radio beacon. You can always shut them off. If you feel like there's too many at one time, maybe you want to slow it down. But periodically, the game will automatically switch on your radio beacon to let settlers come in. It's just the way that the game. It's kind of weird like that. It's because there's something there, and the game kind of recognizes it as an item that's belonging to the settlement. So since it has a switch on it, the game kind of assumes that it's some type of power thing, and it basically will come on even if you switched it off. So, but if as long as you have one of those crystal things, you could always put another one back up if you feel like. The trick is finding copper. That's usually the one downside about it. Copper is a pretty rare resource in this game, as you guys know. So, but that's basically what you have to do. Just play the game. That's the only thing I could tell you. If you're stuck trying to increase the settlement, don't worry. Just be patient with the game. This isn't one of those games that you pop in and then all of a sudden you're going to get like 5 people in one shot. It doesn't really, in one, playthrough. It doesn't really happen like that. I kind of wish, you know, there's already 5 people that kind of show up at Sanctuary. So, if I come back here, this place now has about 9 people. And that took a while for that to get to 9 people. For the longest time, it was just Preston and the gang. And there's only like 4 other people that basically showed up to the place. And that's only because I had to basically have somebody come in to basically start, planting food, because I wanted to use somebody for a supply line, but I had to change somebody that I was using to basically you put on guard duty. I had to take them off guard duty in order to go have them go work on crops. Next thing you know, 2 other people just basically wandered in. Sorry about that. If you guys are wondering what I was recording with, yeah, it's. Sorry about that. Always with the ghouls, isn't it? All right. But that's not what I was going to say. But, if you guys are wanted to know, it's basically remote play, so it's not the most stable way of recording because I don't have a computer anymore, so doing videos for me is a little bit different than you might be used to. But hopefully either way the video kind of got through to you. This video went longer than necessary. I could have made this into like a 3 or 4 minute video tops, explaining all this kind of stuff. But I figured at least show a few places to give some idea, okay, what to go with and what to try to do. You know, that's the way that this game is. It's not as straightforward as you might, be used to with other games. This is one of those games you have to be patient because it's Fallout. It's the way that they did it. They wanted to feel a little bit realistic. And think about it. If people just started pouring out, coming to a place in one day, in terms of game time, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense that way. This is why certain things also respawn in the world. So this way, if you need, let's say you run out of resources and you're building something, well, places after a while that you've already been to, they will repopulate with things that you already took beforehand. So you could always go back to places you might have visited before, or there's a lot of quests that could sometimes make you backtrack once in a while, where you could go clean out a place like the national, what is it, the national place that has feral ghouls. Like this guy just basically gave me something to do. More than likely, it's probably downtown somewhere or between Cambridge or it's the other place. Easy pork because they always eventually come back. Even the raiders around this area around Vault 111. Same thing with over at Sunshine. Anywhere you could think of, there's always enemies that spawn. You know, people say that if you clean out Red and her gang, that they won't come back. No, they still come back. It's just not the same people anymore. Red is dead. Once you get rid of Red, that's it. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Raiders are all gone. Eventually, there is stuff that the stuff that's all down there that you got before. Let's say you cleared that entire place down. Same thing with Corvega. Those raiders, the raiders will still come back in there, and then you have to basically, but it's not tied to a quest, but you can go back anytime you want. It's like a few other places that you've already visited. That's basically the best way I can describe. Now, sometimes I have noticed that settlers won't increase. Sometimes your settlements may not grow any larger until you complete a certain portion of the game. Sometimes you may have to do that just to see what it may do. You may have. That's why I say you may have to play the game for a little while to see what you got, because once you start building, you're going to need resources anyway, and there's only so much steel and wood that's going to last you for a while. Even with a supply line, you're eventually going to run out, and you're going to have to eventually restock your warehouses and all that kind of stuff, because a scavenger working on a scavenger station is only going to help so much, and eventually you have to empty the workshop after a few days, and then it refills after that particular point anyway. But so hopefully that kind of helps at least a few people. Not saying it will, but hopefully that'll do it for you guys. So with that, guys, let me take care of this person and take care.